Hello, hello, hello. Good morning. Good afternoon, rather. It's not morning here in Michigan. Okay, good afternoon to each of you that's here. Good afternoon to all our listeners here in Michigan. Here, this is Archbishop John Lewis Jones Jr. with another rendition of Bishop's Words of Wisdom. Don't forget to like and subscribe. I'll be dispensing some knowledge, some wisdom to our brothers and sisters today. And if you like what you hear, if you like what's going on, please subscribe to it. Like it and subscribe to it. Okay. Um, uh, Today I have a subject that I want to deal with. Two words just come to mind, and I know that we've talked about several subjects. Talked about um, the women. Talked about Kevin Samuels. Talked about had Dr. Barry Story on talking about various subjects. But today I I want to talk and just use two words. I just want to use just two words, and the two words that I want to use is man up. Okay, so by those two words, I'm sure you recognize that I'm going to be talking to our brethren today. I'm going to talk to our men. Um, uh, I'm a man. I'm a black man as well, and I want to talk to our men. And if I can, if others chime in, okay. But I want to talk to our men because I want to make sure that we are being as productive as we need to be. What actually prompts this today? And I was thinking about it anyway. And so my confirmation actually. So what gave me my confirmation was today, a few hours ago. I was in the bank, and a mother and daughter were in front of me, and they were not young. You know, daughter wasn't a teenager or anything. The daughter probably looked to be in her maybe late 20s or early 30s. Mother was probably in her early 50s. Um, and they uh, began to have a conversation about men. And I just kept my mouth shut and listened to what they were saying. When we came out, they were at the ATM outside the bank, and I was able to say something to them and give them both a card. But um, I just listened to what they said, listened to what they were going through, and I said, "Man," I said, "This is confirmation for what I wanted to talk about today." And this man up, um, Bishop's words of wisdom today. This man up subject. Um, and you may want to write this down. You can write it down because we're going to hit several areas. So the first area I want to hit with regards to man up. First thing I want to say is recognize your deficiency, brothers. Recognize your deficiency. The Bible clearly states in the book of Romans, um, it says that no man should think more highly of himself. I believe it's in the 12th chapter, where it says no man should think more highly of himself than he ought to think. um, so, uh, and I'm saying this to all of us. Recognize the Bible also goes on to say that all have sinned and come short of the glory of God. So that means all of us are flawed in some way, some shape, some form. Everybody is flawed. All men are all of us are flawed. All of us have some sort of deficiency somewhere. No one has everything all together and running on all cylinders all the time. There may be some things, and seriously speaking, and St. John's knows that. Sometimes I may joke around, but and I talk about that one fault that I have, and I laugh, and the people here, membership here laughs. But in all honesty, I know I have more than one fault because I'm flawed. Okay, so the first thing you do is recognize that you have flaws. recognize those flaws. Don't sit there and think that you have it all together. Okay. So recognize there's a deficiency. Okay, let me digress for a moment. Just because you got the girl that you went after, don't think that you're flawless. That your game is just that strong. Your game is just that together that you were able to just, man, I got a strong game because I was able to get her. And well, here's an idea. How about the fact that she liked you anyway? How about the fact that she was feeling you anyway? Uh, I mean, don't pat yourself on the back so hard until you think it's all your game, and it was none that she just happened to like you. There's an idea, okay? So recognize that there are deficiencies, not singular, plural. Recognize there are deficiencies, that you have deficiencies. Not just taking out the trash, not just remembering stuff. Maybe sometimes, maybe you are self-centered. Maybe you are selfish. Maybe you make it all about you. Maybe you never consider your wife as much as you should. You don't consider her feelings and say, "Baby, um, what do you want to do? How do you want to?" My wife and I, we sort of have an agreement. Okay, so we just got back from out of town. We were in L.A. for several days. Her friend of 46 years, um, Denitha um, Wallace, retired, and we went to her retirement party. Probably 200-300 people there, and so my wife and I have an agreement. When we go out of town for an event such as that, that's her trip. That's not my trip. That this is her trip. So whatever she wants to do, we do it. So we stayed in uh, uh, Mon, uh, Monrovia or Monrovia, somewhere, which is right next to Pasadena. And my wife said she lived in Pasadena for several years. She said, "I want to go see the house I used to live in." Okay, she knew the street, found the house, so she was overjoyed. She said, "Oh, you found it?" Yes, because I made it my mission. This is your trip. We're going to. I didn't sit there and say, "Okay, well, I don't want to do that." You know, no, this is your trip, sweetheart. So your trip, okay. My wife didn't touch a steering wheel from the day we left last Thursday. She didn't touch it. She drove some Wednesday, but from Thursday morning up until now, this moment, she hasn't touched the steering wheel. She didn't drive nowhere. Okay, from the airport to to wherever we went to church, to the dinner, we I drove. Okay, and I had planned it. To be honest, I planned it that way because I didn't want her. Sometimes she may get stressed out, especially driving out of town. I did not want my wife to um, experience that stress. So I made the trip. Your trip is about you. Okay, so I recognize that that could have been my deficiency where I could have said, "It's not a trip all about you." I would've. So she did ask me in the trip, during the trip, she said, "Is there any place you want to see?" Yes. Wanted to see a few places. So went to see, hadn't been out out to California in many years, since '86 actually. Went by, and I had, back in '86, I went to see the Old Forum. The Lakers played there. So I've seen that. Seen the Coliseum, you know. So I said I hadn't seen the Staples Center, or now it's called the Crypto Center. Okay, we wanted to go, so we went to see that. Bishop Charles Blake built a new church since I've been out there, West Angeles Cathedral Church of God in Christ. Went to see that. Um, uh, uh, I wanted to visit City of Refuge, which is Bishop Noel Jones's church. We went to his church on Sunday morning. Okay, but mainly it was about her. But what I'm saying is, I recognize that used to be, years ago, a deficiency in me, where, okay, look, I want to do what I want to do because I have a list. No, this is your trip. So because this is your trip, this has your list on it. Okay, so you have to, you have a list. Your list is more important than my list. Excuse me. Your list is more important than my list, because this is actually your trip. Because it had not been for your friend having this retirement dinner, then we wouldn't be here. So your trip, your agenda, your list. Okay, did that. So, secondly, I want to say, after you recognize your deficiencies, and men, I want you to give this serious consideration. I don't want you to just blow it off because she gonna be all right. No, because this is what will make some women walk away. Okay, let me say that again. This is what will make some women walk away, because they are that unhappy, because they feel like a slave. Okay, let me go on and say more. They feel like a slave, and then at times they feel like a sex slave and a dump. I'm not going to elaborate on that. Okay, but that's sometimes the way, because our men say everything is all about me. So you recognize that. Second thing I want you to do. My second point is address these areas. Okay, not just recognize them, but now it comes to, now you have to address them. Okay, so that means, okay, I see this area. Okay, and if your spouse, if your significant other brings this up to you, man, okay, don't just sit there and blow it off as if it's, oh man, I'm not like that. No, stop. Okay, the Bible says something, and we read the scripture on First Sundays during communion, where it says, let a man examine himself. Okay, examine yourself, check yourself out. Okay, begin to think and ask your spouse. Don't be afraid. Don't be afraid to ask your spouse, and then don't be afraid, and then prepare yourself for the answer. Uh, am I being selfish? Do you think I'm a selfish person? And be prepared for the answer. Okay. So then if she says it, then you need to be able to recognize it. Secondly, you need to be able to address it. Wow. So you think I'm selfish? Okay. All right, let me address this. Can you give me some situations? Can you give me examples of where you think I'm being selfish? Can you give me that? And when she gives you these examples, men, stop blowing them off. Oh, you just being extra. You just being, no. Listen. Remember when I said several weeks ago, um, uh, one of the best um, ways, one of the best things that we do during our marriage, one of the most significant areas is communication. What's a part of that communication? Listening. Listening is a part of that communication. So you listen. So then you're addressing. Now, men, if you don't have a good memory, please write down what she said, what she's talking about. Write down what she's saying. Look, I'm trying to help your marriage. Okay, write down what she's saying. Don't blow it off, and then in a few years you say, "Man, she just walked out. The bishop. She just walked out the door, man. I didn't. Well, did you see it coming? No. Did y'all have a conversation about it? Yeah, we talked about it, but okay. So in other words, you didn't hear her. You didn't listen to her. You wasn't feeling her, and she got to the point where she had enough. Okay, let me be more candid. She got to the point where she was sick and tired of being sick and tired. And when you get to the point where you sick and tired of being sick and tired, then she said, "Okay, I'm out. Can't deal with it. Why? Because it's beyond. Look, I've checked too many things. I've checked too many boxes. So once I've checked all these boxes, and now you out of my heart. Okay, now, um, man, let me say this. Let me give a side note here. She may be out of the house. She may say, "Okay, well, look, I'm just going to move out for a minute, take some of her stuff." Okay, now then you need to work to get her back in the house, because if you let the longer you let her stay out the house, if she gets you out of her heart, it's a wrap. Okay, one thing, and I want to share this with our men. Is one thing that she's out of the house, or she put you out of the house, or asked you to leave the house. It's another thing when you are out of her heart. When you're out of her heart, it is a wrap. Men, trust me, it's a wrap on that. So you address this. You address it. You talk, communicate. Write these things down. Whatever she's saying, write it down. Now, third point I want to make is next point is you then um, uh, have to make corrections. Okay, you then have to make corrections. So understand what she's talking about. Understand what she's saying. Okay, now, brother, and let me say this: it's possible for you to be one of these woke brothers, like you say, I'm woke. Man, you don't have to explain. Man, I get it. You could be woke in one area and dumb as a box of rocks in another. I'm serious. You could be woke over here. You get, man. Come on, Black Lives Matter. You get with. Okay, you getting all that. But when it comes to your relationship, okay, when it come to your relationship, you like Elmer Fudd. Okay, I'm sorry. That's somebody from years and years. The older crowd probably get that. Okay, you like Jethro from. Okay, yeah, y'all probably get like it. Okay, um, uh, I'm sorry. The fella um from Forrest Gump. Yeah. Okay. Now you get okay. You like the scrimp guy. Okay. You like him. That probably just didn't get it, or even Forrest Gump didn't get it. Okay. So you have to be able to get these things. Okay. So and you make corrections. Now, and I'll talk to people all the time, get permission to say certain things, so don't just think that I'm learned there was a situation, young lady had a situation, and I'm just giving you an example of somebody that just wasn't okay. So situation where a young man, young woman, and young man did not have a car seat for his car, and he for children and his children, yeah. I said, okay, you need to figure out how I can get a car seat for my car for our kids. Okay, all right, okay. Let's go back. Need to figure out. She needs to figure out. Get this: how he can get a car seat for his kids, for his car that he drives and he make payment. Come on. And when I heard that, I was honestly. You ever been asleep and somebody wake you up suddenly and you think you're dreaming? Okay, that's where I was, because I said no, nobody could have been that. But brother says I'm woke. Come on, man. Okay, come. You can't figure out how you can get your own car seat for your own car for your kids, dude. Really? Come on. You know, you make the correction, and I'm giving that as an example because maybe there's a brother out there who may have said that. Okay. Then another situation where, and out here, or I'll say in this particular state, there are a lot of power outages in this particular state. And a young man was dropping off his daughter that didn't live with him to back at her mother's house, and said to and dropped the daughter back off. Now, mind you, they had power outage because of a storm. Storm had hit. Mother didn't have power in her house. The daddy had power at his place. So he dropped the daughter back off, knowing that his daughter was going into a situation where there was no power. And then he said to someone, they said, well, don't, don't, do they have power? No. Okay, well, he said, well, okay, I'm gonna let them figure it out. Really? Okay, again, dumb as a box of rocks, dumb as a hammer. Okay, come on. So how and that's an example of somebody being Totally selfish. Why? Because if it's not about me, dude, that's your daughter. Come on, man. Man up. So ask me what would I have done? I'm glad y'all asked that. Okay. Totally glad you asked that. What would I have done? I would have called up my baby mama and said, "Hey, look, I can't drop her off tonight. Okay, do you have power? No, you don't. Okay, you and I may not be together, but hey, do you need anything? Okay, do you need anything? I know you sitting over there with no power. You and your man maybe okay. That ain't got nothing to do. Do you need anything? Are you good? No. Okay, we good. Well, look, I'm not dropping off my daughter tonight. Why? Because you don't have power, and I don't want you to have to include her in whatever equation you guys have to figure out and how to and make her a part of that equation and it affects your um, decision making because I am a part of this equation because this is my daughter. So no, I'll drop her off in the morning. If I have to get up an hour or 2 hours earlier, I'll do that. And depending on whether or not or if I got to take a vacation day, I'll take a vacation day. If I got to take a sick day, I'll take a. You ask me what would I do if I have to take a sick day? I'll take a sick day. Why? This is my child. This is my child. Come on, men. You talk about being woke. You talk about manning up. Man up. That's your daughter. Okay. Even if that were your son. Okay. You still with me. But surely that being your daughter, you're going to send your daughter back into a situation like that. A girl. Come on now. And and so, come on. Stop being blind. Okay. Stop being blind. So you correct your stuff. What do? You correct them. Correct your stuff. Correct your deficiency. Okay, correct your deficiencies. My and when you're getting deficiencies corrected, okay, let me share this. If you have to sit down with a group of men, okay, older man, listen. Now, let me say this, okay? If you have an older man who, if you or you know an older man who has been married for many years, okay, man, I ain't gonna ask him nothing. Man, I don't need what I need his advice for. Uh, uh, Elmo, because here you are, okay, you need help in your marriage. Do you not recognize your wife is getting tired and you think that she gonna still put up with your mess? Dude, uh-uh, no, no. So if you have somebody that's been married 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60 years, you go to them. My wife and I have been married. Next month it'll be 35 years. My father-in-law now, who my mother-in-law, God rest her soul, she's been dead now for approximately 5 years, and she died in 2017. And her and my father-in-law were married. I don't know, I don't remember, 62, 63 years, short of 20 days short of 63 years. I don't remember. It was over 60, 62 years, I believe. Okay. Uh, have I ever asked my father-in-law for advice? Of course. Of course. Called him up, and I can remember at least two occasions. I said, "Man, this cat done been married longer than I've been on the earth." Okay, and at the time that was true. I said, "Man, I'd be a fool. I got this resource and don't use it." Okay, come on. That would have been stupid. Man, I don't need to go ask your father nothing. Come on now. Okay, been married all these years. You think especially listen, especially if they have a blended family. Come on now. No. This is part of you manning up. This is part of you man. This is part of the correction area. This is part of you correcting your stuff. Okay, you got somebody that you know. I don't care if they. You don't have to go and you don't have to let them in on your business. You could say, look, hypothetically, if you got a guy or if what do you think about doing this, that, the other? Look, this is going to be great advice for you. Or if your church has a, I know for years before the pandemic, we had an area. Deacon Fred Davis was over, we would bring our brothers together and discuss situations and grab some of the younger men, just trying to give them guidance. As we come out of the pandemic, we'll be heading back into that, getting brothers together and where we can discuss things in marriage, helping some of the brothers that have not been married as long. Yes, we need to do that. But and then chairman of our deacon board here at the church, Deacon Clyde Dickinson, he got married many years ago. I believe he got married in 1957, if I'm not mistaken. I think he got married in 1957. So November it will be 65 years. 65 years he would have been married in November. I believe November 23rd, because he got married the day after Mother Dickinson turned legal age. Yeah, so it'll be 65 years. Yes. That's longer than, beloved, that's longer than I've been on the earth. So I'd be crazy not to look at and study his example and listen to some of the things that he says. Why? Because he's been married such a long, and sure, sometimes sometimes listening to some of it may be like eating fish. Okay, you eat the meat, throw away the bones. You can take some of it in, uh, because you know that will work for your household. Okay. My next point is, and you can write this down as well. Don't expect her to just accept your deficiency. Okay. What does that mean? That means don't expect, for her to just say, "Well, that's just the way he is." I just, I've learned to accept it now, and you don't have to correct anything. But then, bruh, man, you expect her to. She need to correct her stuff, man. She need to take and do better. Oh, I'm sorry, but you don't need to do anything. You think yeah, man? No, I'm cool. Let me share this. Um, uh, when I counsel couples, if there is one that comes out and says, "Well, Pastor, I don't need help. I'm okay," and point the finger and say it's them. They need the help. It's me. Me, I'm good. They I tend to concentrate heavier on the person that makes that statement. You know why? Because that tells me they don't have the ability to recognize their own dunghill. And y'all know what dung is. Okay. Cow manure. They don't have the ability to recognize their own stuff. Their stuff does not stink. Their stuff does not smell. Their stuff does not give off an odor. Hello in here. It's odorless. Okay. But when you make a pile of dung, ooh, I can smell it upstairs. The bathroom downstairs, I can smell it upstairs because it's, come on. Okay. So get off your high horse and brethren, man up. Okay. And then let me throw this in there too. We got this thing, our men, and we may go a minute or two over. We got this thing where we talk about, uh, and I've heard men come even to me and say, "Pastor, she won't submit." Okay, yeah, I'm gonna deal with that, Pastor. She won't. She, I wanted to do, but she just won't submit. Okay, why don't you tell her she wants that she need to submit? Okay, so let me get this straight. You want me to tell your wife that she needs to submit to bad leadership? Okay. All right. So, uh, men, where are you leading? Where are you leading her? Where are you leading your family? One of the things that I've learned to ask guys that have come and they've asked for my daughter's hand in marriage, I ask, okay, where do you see yourself in 3 years? Where do you see your family in 3 years? What goals have you set? Uh, no, I'm sorry. That was, I need an answer. Okay. It's not a rhetorical question. I need you to answer that, please. Okay, because you want her to follow you. And let me share this. Okay, women don't mind following a strong man that's going somewhere. that knows where he's going, knows how he's going to get there, and knows how to lead, and is not being a tyrant or being a dictator, but he loves his wife and loves his family. Okay, uh, don't mind following that, but come on, you Pastor, you telling me to to tell her to tell her that she needs to do what I tell her to do. Okay, well, first question I had, bro, what did you tell her to do? Okay, so if what you tell her to do goes against her ethics, what? Here's one. What if it goes against the Bible? Okay, all right, come on. You want her to do what? Because you thought of this and you want her to do this, and then you come to me talking about she won't submit. She won't submit to that. Come on, you concocted this scheme knowing that it's illegal, and you want her to follow it. Okay, and then when time for somebody to do time, go to jail or whatever, get convicted, you go on bail. Come on, man, man. We were riding in her car. It was her gun. It wasn't my gun. I know somebody that happened to. It wasn't a couple. It was a brother. Okay, it was a brother. He picked up a friend. That's why when I go out of town, I'm sorry. When I go out of town, I don't pick up just folks that I know. Man, take me down. And no, I'm sorry. I'm not taking you down. Man, I just need a ride down to 56th Street. Sorry, not taking you. Why? Man, you can turn around and if I get stopped for any reason and they go under my seat and there's a gun under my seat and then I said that's not mine. Look, I probably get out of it because I got a few connections, and I'm probably going to be able to get. But it's going to take me all the money in the world to get out of it and to prove that that's not my piece. And you going to sit there, with lockjaw and not say a word. Man, I'm not going through that. No, why? It's easier for me to just say, bruh, that's okay, man. I'm sorry, I can't do that. Why? Because you probably haven't changed in 30 years, and you probably got a piece on you right now. They got 5 bodies, and no, I'm not. I'm sorry, I'm not going to do it. So, okay, y'all pray for me. Okay, don't forget like and subscribe. Okay, like and subscribe. We're dispensing, and we may go deeper into this topic next week because there's a lot that I want to unravel with our men. Um, especially with this responsibility piece. Okay, especially and let me share this. The responsibility you talk about submitting. Okay, God gave the responsibility to us men. Okay, um, uh, uh, and what He told us to do, and told us how to lead our families. So God gave us that responsibility. So don't shirk your responsibility. Live up to it. If you need help, ask your wife. Help me. They are our help me. Okay, they help me. Don't forget, like and subscribe. Pray that you enjoyed our podcast for today. If you have any subjects that you want us to deal with, please feel free um, to con- feel free to drop them in the comments. Amen. The producers tell me to drop them in the comments, so feel free to drop them in the comments, and then we'll deal with those. If you have any questions, please. Uh, uh, I am perfectly comfortable with entertaining your questions, with answering your questions, anything that will help you and assist you with your relationship. Remember, like and subscribe. And this is Archbishop John Lewis Jones Jr. signing out for today. And remember Bishop's words of wisdom, and just remember Proverbs the 3rd chapter, 5th and the 6th verse. But remember, in all thy ways acknowledge him, and he shall direct our